I remember the silence that followed his question. It was heavier than the damp air in my crumbling apartment, heavier than the years of loneliness I had endured. My son, Marcus, sat on my sagging thrift store sofa, his Italian leather shoes resting on the cracked linoleum floor. He looked at me with eyes that were so much like his father's, warm, earnest, and confused. He asked, "Mom, do you like the $7,000 Bella gives you every month? Is it enough?" I froze. My hand, trembling slightly, hovered over the half-eaten tin of cat food I had been trying to hide under a newspaper. $7,000? The number echoed in my head like a gunshot. For 5 years, his wife, Bella, had visited me once a month in her shiny silver Porsche. For 5 years, she had looked down her nose at me, sighed dramatically, and handed me a single, crumpled $100 bill. She told me business was bad. She told me Marcus was struggling. She told me this was all he could spare. I looked at my son, a millionaire who thought he was taking care of his mother. I looked at the mold growing in the corner of the ceiling. And then I looked at the ledger I kept hidden in my drawer, a notebook where I had pasted every single pathetic bill Bella had thrown at me. That simple question exposed a lie worth nearly $500,000. It was the moment a mother's shame turned into a terrifying rage. Please, I beg of you, listen to my story until the very end. It is not just about money. It is about the betrayal that happens when we trust the wrong people to be the bridge between us and the ones we love. Before we begin, I would love to know where our family is growing. Please tell me in the comments, which country are you watching from today? If you believe that the truth always comes to light, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps us share these important stories. Thank you. My name is Evelyn. I live in a part of the city that people like my son usually only see on the news. My apartment building, the Willows, used to be a decent place 30 years ago. But now it was just a tired old skeleton of bricks and peeling paint. The elevator hadn't worked since 2019. The hallway always smelled of boiled cabbage and damp wool. But it was home, or at least, it was the only home I could afford. My husband passed away 10 years ago. He didn't leave much, just a lot of love and a small life insurance policy that evaporated after his funeral and outstanding medical bills. We had poured everything we had into our son, Marcus. We sent him to the best schools, supported his startups, and cheered him on when he moved to the city to build his empire. And he did. He built a real estate firm that made him millions. I was so proud of him. I still am. But somewhere along the way, as his bank account grew, the distance between us grew too. It wasn't sudden. It was a slow drift, like a boat unmoored in a quiet harbor. For the last 5 years, my life has been small, very small. My Social Security check barely covered the rent and the electricity. Food was a luxury I had to calculate down to the penny. I became an expert at stretching things. A single tea bag could make 3 cups if you weren't picky about the taste. Bread was bought from the discount rack the day before it went moldy. And when things got really tight, well, certain brands of wet cat food are made of fish too. If you add enough pepper, you can pretend it's a pate. It keeps you alive. You might wonder, where was Marcus? Why didn't you call him? I tried. Oh, how I tried. But every time I called, I got his voicemail. Or I got her. Bella. Marcus met Bella 6 years ago. She was beautiful. I'll give her that. Sharp features, dark hair that never moved out of place, and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She was his marketing director before she became his wife. She managed his schedule, his life, and, eventually, his mother. When they got married, Bella insisted on handling the family finances. She told me Marcus was incredibly busy. She said he didn't want to see me living in poverty, so he was sending me a monthly allowance. "He's doing his best, Evelyn," she would say, her voice dripping with a sickly sweet pity. "But the market is crashing. He's barely keeping the lights on at the office." Every first Sunday of the month, Bella's silver Porsche would pull up to the curb outside my building. She never parked too close. She didn't want the neighborhood grit on her tires. I would wait for her in the lobby because she refused to walk up the 4 flights of stairs. She would walk in, checking her watch, wearing sunglasses that cost more than my entire year's rent. "Here you go, Evelyn," she would say, pulling a wrinkled $100 bill from her purse. Not an envelope, just the bill, loose and sad. Marcus sends his love. He's sorry, it can't be more. You know how it is. I understand, I would whisper, clutching the bill like a lifeline. Tell him I love him. Tell him I'm praying for the business. I will, she would say, already turning around. Don't call him this week, okay? He's in a bad mood about the numbers. We don't want to upset him. And so, I stayed silent. I didn't want to be a burden. I sat in the dark to save electricity. I wore sweaters I had owned since 1995, and I waited. Then came Mother's Day. It was a Sunday this year. I woke up early, the sun highlighting the dust motes dancing in the air. I didn't expect much. Usually Bella would send a generic text message, or maybe the $100 would come a day early. I sat by the window, watching the families down on the street walking to church. Mothers in bright hats, children holding bouquets. A lump formed in my throat. I missed Marcus. Around noon, my stomach rumbled. I opened the cupboard. Empty. I opened the fridge. A half-empty jug of water and a jar of pickles. I sighed and reached for the cupboard under the sink, pulling out a tin of savory salmon cat food. It was humiliating, yes, but hunger has a way of erasing shame when you are alone. I cracked the tin open. The smell was strong, fishy, and pungent. I grabbed a fork and sat at my small, wobbly kitchen table. Knock, knock, knock. I jumped, nearly dropping the fork. Who could that be? The landlord? I shuffled to the door, smoothing down my faded floral apron. Who is it? I called out, my voice rusty from disuse. Mom? It's me, Marcus. My heart stopped. It actually stopped for a second. I fumbled with the locks, all three of them, my fingers shaking so hard I could barely turn the deadbolt. I pulled the door open. There he was, my son. He looked older than the last time I saw him. He had a few gray hairs at his temples, and he was wearing a suit that looked like it was cut from silk. He held a massive bouquet of white lilies, my favorite, and a gold gift bag. Marcus, I gasped. Without thinking, I threw my arms around him. I buried my face in his chest, smelling the expensive cologne, the scent of success, the scent of my boy. He hugged me back, but his body was stiff. He pulled away gently after a moment, and I saw him looking past me. He was looking at the peeling wallpaper in the hallway. He was looking at the water stain on the ceiling. Mom, he said, his voice quiet. Can I come in? Of course, of course. I ushered him inside. I wasn't expecting you. Bella said you were in Tokyo. Marcus frowned as he stepped into the living room. Tokyo? I haven't been to Tokyo in 2 years. I drove in from the estate. It's only an hour away. He stopped in the middle of the room. It was impossible to hide the poverty. The curtains were threadbare. The rug was worn down to the backing. And on the table, in plain sight, was the open tin of cat food with a fork sticking out of it. I rushed over, snatching a newspaper to cover the tin. I was just cleaning up, I lied, my face burning hot. Marcus didn't say anything. He walked over to the sofa and sat down slowly, testing the springs. He placed the flowers on the coffee table, pushing aside a stack of unpaid bills I hadn't hidden in time. It's Mother's Day, he said softly. I wanted to see you. Bella said, she said you prefer we don't visit. She said you get anxious with company, but I missed you. Anxious? I blinked, confused. Marcus, I have waited for you every single day. I thought you were busy. Bella told me the business was failing. Marcus laughed, a sharp, barking sound. Failing? Mom, we just closed a deal for $40 million. We posted record profits last quarter. We bought a vacation home in the Hamptons last month. The room seemed to spin. 40 million? The Hamptons? But, I stammered, sinking into the chair opposite him. But Bella said, she gives me what you can spare. She brings me the money every month. Marcus's expression softened. He leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, looking at me with that earnest, confused expression. That's actually why I wanted to come personally, he said. I wanted to see if you needed anything else. I know you like to live simply, Mom. You always have. But I wanted to ask. He paused, taking a breath. Mom, do you like the $7,000 Bella gives you every month? Is it enough? Because looking at this place, I feel like maybe you're saving it all? Or is the rent here higher than I thought? The silence crashed down on us. I stared at him. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. 7,000? I whispered. The words felt foreign on my tongue. Yes. Marcus nodded, oblivious. 7,000 a month, plus the bonuses I send on holidays. Last Christmas, I sent 15,000. Did you get that? My blood ran cold. My vision blurred. $7,000 a month. That That was $84,000 a year. Over 5 years, that was over $400,000. And I was eating cat food. I stood up. My legs felt like jelly, but a fire was igniting in my belly, a fire fueled by every cold night, every hungry stomach rumble. "Marcus," I said, my voice trembling with a mixture of horror and fury. "Wait here." I walked to my bedroom. I went to the small, chipped nightstand and pulled out the bottom drawer. Underneath a pile of old socks, I pulled out a black composition notebook, my ledger. I had kept it because I was grateful. I wanted to record every penny my son gave me. I had pasted every single receipt. January, $100. February, $100. March, $100. I walked back into the living room. I didn't say a word. I just handed the notebook to him. "What is this?" he asked. "Taking it. Read it." I said. "Read the last page." Marcus flipped the notebook open. He scanned the columns of neat, shaky handwriting. I watched his face. I watched the color drain from his cheeks. I watched his blue eyes widen in disbelief, then narrow in confusion, and finally darken into a terrifying silent rage. $100? He whispered, reading the entry from last week. "She gave you $100? For 5 years. Marcus," I said, tears finally spilling over my cheeks. "She told me you were broke. She told me you didn't want to see me. She drives a Porsche, and I eat." I couldn't finish the sentence. I just pointed to the newspaper on the table. Marcus reached out and lifted the paper. He saw the tin. Savory salmon. 4 adult cats. The sound he made was something between a sob and a growl. He stood up so abruptly that the coffee table rattled. He didn't look at me. He couldn't. He looked at the wall, his hands balled into fists, so tight his knuckles were white. "She lied," he said, his voice shaking. "She lied to me. She told me you were traveling. She told me you lived in a luxury condo uptown. She showed me photos, fake photos." He turned to me then, and the pain in his face broke my heart all over again. "Mom, I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know." "I know," I whispered, stepping toward him. "But she did." Marcus pulled out his phone. His hands were shaking, but his movements were deliberate. He dialed a number. "Bella's number." "Don't answer," he muttered to himself. "Just don't answer yet." He looked at me, his eyes burning with a cold, hard resolve. "Mom, get your coat. Pack a bag. You are not staying here another minute." "Where are we going?" I asked, wiping my eyes. Marcus looked at the phone in his hand, then back at me. "We're going home. Bella is hosting a Mother's Day brunch at the estate right now. All her friends are there. She thinks I'm playing golf." He held up the notebook, the evidence of her theft, the proof of my suffering. "We're going to crash the party," Marcus said, his voice deadly calm. "And I want you to bring that tin of food with you." The drive to the estate was silent. Marcus gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white, but he didn't say a word. I sat in the passenger seat, clutching my battered old purse and the tin of cat food like a shield. When we pulled up to the mansion, the driveway was lined with luxury cars. Music drifted from the backyard. Laughter. Champagne glasses clinking. It sounded like a different world. We walked through the front gates. I felt small in my faded coat, but Marcus held my hand tight. We walked straight to the garden where Bella was holding court. She was laughing, holding a crystal flute, surrounded by her wealthy friends. She looked perfect, untouched by guilt. Then she saw us. Her smile dropped. She froze. "Marcus?" she stammered, her voice pitching high. "Honey? I thought you were, playing golf." "And Evelyn, what a surprise." The music didn't stop, but the conversation did. Everyone turned to look at the millionaire and his mother in the worn-out shoes. "Turn off the music," Marcus said. He didn't shout, but his voice carried across the lawn like thunder. The music cut out instantly. "Honey, don't make a scene," Bella hissed, walking toward us with a fake, tight smile. "Your mother looks tired. Let's get her some water in the kitchen." "No," Marcus said, stepping between her and me. "My mother isn't going to the kitchen. She's going to stay right here." He reached into my bag and pulled out the black notebook. He threw it onto the table, knocking over a tray of appetizers. Then he pulled out the tin, the savory salmon. He slammed it down next to the ledger. The sound echoed in the silence. "For 5 years," Marcus said, his voice shaking with rage, "I sent you $7,000 a month to give to my mother. $7,000, plus bonuses, nearly $500,000. He pointed a trembling finger at her face. "You gave her $100. You let my mother, the woman who raised me, eat cat food while you bought this house, while you bought that car." The crowd gasped. Bella turned pale, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. "Marcus, wait, I was investing it. I was saving it for—" "Get out!" Marcus whispered. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. You have 1 hour to pack your bags before I call the police for embezzlement. Bella looked around for support, but her friends turned away. She was alone. She ran into the house, sobbing. But I didn't feel sorry for her, not for a second. It has been 2 years since that day. Bella is facing fraud charges and the divorce was final last month. As for me, I live in the guest wing of the estate now. I have a warm bed, a fridge full of real food, and every morning, Marcus and I have coffee together. The lesson I learned is painful, but true. Money can build a house, but it cannot build a home. And sometimes, the people closest to the money are the furthest from the heart. Always trust your instincts and check on the ones you love personally. Don't let anyone stand between you and your family. Thank you so much for listening to my story until the very end. It wasn't easy to relive, but having you here with me means everything. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone you love. Until next time, stay safe.